Yo, what's going on, guys? In my most recent video, a lot of you asked me to talk about crosshair placement. So in part 1 of today's video, I'm going to be going over everything I know about how to improve your crosshair placement, whether you're on keyboard or mouse or controller. Doesn't really matter. This video should help you. And in part 2, I'll be going more in depth for controller players and talking about everything I do to not be so stiff. Okay, so to get started, I'm sure most of you understand what good crosshair placement is already. However, just for those that don't, real quick, an example of good crosshair placement would be if I wanted to do this right hand peanut butter edit, making as minimalistic of a movement as possible. And bad crosshair placement would be doing this big exaggerated movement to do the same edit. Now, good crosshair placement doesn't have to be when only selecting tiles of an edit. It also applies to where your crosshair is when you finish an edit in order to start a new edit. So what I mean by that is, let's say I wanted to do a little edit down move here. I would edit the ramp like this, and then my crosshair is basically already here to select this tile. I can place a stair, and then edit it to the right side. Notice I'm doing the right side, because then I can place the wall, and this whole time I'll be running, but I don't really have to move my crosshair much in order to edit these tiles like that. I see some people, let's say they edit the ramp like this, but then they want to go this way. They drag their crosshair, they edit the ramp again to the right, and then place this wall going through the left side, and it's just sloppy all around, and it's going to take you way longer to do all these moves this way as opposed to this way. So I'll mention a few maps throughout this video. However, right now I'm in Raiders Mechanics Training Map V4, and the code's at the top of the screen. I'll put all the codes in the description, but one thing to note with this map versus other maps is when you select these speed multipliers, it affects more than just your movement speed. So I have it on 0.6 and my movement speed's slower, but also when I jump, notice it's slower. When I look around, it's slower. So it's going to feel a little bit wonky at first, but it's great for improving your crosshair placement. Now when you're on this map, I recommend doing two things. One, select either 0.6 or 0.4 movement speed. I like to start on 0.6. I feel 0.8 is a little bit too fast, but once you have that on, go ahead and do your normal free builds. Whatever you do to warm up and however you build, do that and really focus on selecting each tile with as small of a movement as possible, and focus on where your crosshair is after you finish your edits and just improving your normal free build. The next thing you should do is pick a move or a free build or a retake that is hard for you to do on normal speed and try to do it on this slower speed. What that's going to do for you is really build your core mechanics and get that muscle memory and those fundamentals down to do that move in slow motion, and then from there you can slowly increase your movement speed. So I like to start at 0.6 like I said before, and then you can go to 0.8 and try to do that move. Once you get it down in 0.8, you can go to 0.9 and then eventually normal speed. I even use this map to do normal moves such as triple edits, and as you can see here, once you get the crosshair placement down, when you go back to normal speed, you can basically do an unlimited amount of triple edits. So getting into the second part of the video, it's going to be all about control. For keyboard and mouse, to better your mouse control, you have things like Aim Labs and Kovacs, which are really helpful and are going to help you master crosshair placement. Now for controller players, we can't just hop into a Kovac, so what I like to do is use these aim training maps. Now I know going into an aim training map for crosshair placement doesn't really make sense and seems unrelated. However, I noticed when I was doing these aim trainers that it gave me more control over my right stick, and that control over my right stick really helped me with my crosshair placement. So if you have a duo, you can do a 1v1 aim trainer map. Most of the time, I was just doing these solo aim trainers where you shoot bots out of the sky, or bots are really far away and you have to tag them, or they're moving really quick off the speed boost. All that good stuff is in these maps, so I'll have all the codes, like I said, down in the description. Now getting more into control, I don't want to have you guys spend a bunch of money. However, one thing that I personally use is a mid-rise control freak on my right thumbstick. What this does for me is basically just let me have more precise movements with that thumbstick, which helps me with my aim, helps me to be more smooth, and helps me with my crosshair placement. Now I just want to stress that this is something that I'm sharing because I personally like to use it, and if you guys want to spend the money, I think it's like 17 bucks on Amazon right now, then you can go ahead and get it. However, I don't want to make you guys feel pressured to get it. It's completely optional. It's just a personal preference that I really like. If you're a controller player, it's really important that you have your jump bound to something that you can press without taking your right thumb off the right joystick. For me, I have it bound to the right stick itself, so every time I press it, I can jump, and I never have to take my thumb off the joystick. What this does for me is basically allows me to have full control whenever I'm free building, doing side jumps. I can always have complete control over my crosshair. Because if I were to, let's say I had my jump onto X or A if you're on Xbox, I have to take my thumb off each time, so every time I jump, I'm losing that little bit of control. Even if you can get your thumb to the joystick back quick, you still are sacrificing control, which ultimately worsens your crosshair placement and makes you a choppier player. That's all I got for this video. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a decently long video, so I'm not going to get into all the optimal binds you should be using on controller or what sense you should play, the settings you should use. But if you guys want a video on that, let me know down in the comments. I'll be more than happy to make one. Peace.